Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. Thank you for joining us. It is January 7th, and we are having a killer day. But before I tell you all about the killer day and we dive into those details, Ryan, would you please hit us up with the legal?
Absolutely. This is just a reminder that all content and information on Trade the Chain is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not investment advice and should not be construed as such.
Yeah, don't even pay attention to us, please. And the only ones even relatively close to being professionals are Monty and CJ anyway. That being said, we'll go into our shameless plugs, and then we'll tell you what's happening.
Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, a 24/7 community of traders around the world in 17 time zones discussing trading ideas, sharing their victories, and lamenting their battle scars. We also have a coin dashboard that shows sentiment data, price predictions over the next hour. We have real-time alerts that are SigDev alerts straight from thousands of sources. TradeTheChain.com, a 14-day trial. Give it a shot.
You can see it right behind me.
Boom, there it is.
Yeah, I'd love to pull up the dashboard as well. Alex, could you please enable?
Yes. Alex and his technical difficulties. I'm always the easy one to pick on.
The well-oiled Trade the Chain machine.
All right.
There it is. Trade the Chain.
Trade the Chain. Beautiful dashboard. I don't know. I no longer have to use CoinMarketCap.
Nope.
Gives me.
You're trading like a crypto insider now on Trade the Chain.
Yeah. And then second of all, we have Market Rebellion Crypto. And so these are trade insights from Monty and myself, as well as a macro portfolio. We change the allocations in there every couple of weeks. We did so just a week ago. So you can also see that and ask us questions. We're also going to be dropping new courses on an education curriculum about once a month. We're going to try to aim for in the next month or so. We also have a charting platform that I'm going to show my charts with today. But you can try that out with Trade Insights and our macro portfolio for just $1 for a trial. So if you want to go check that out, it's at marketrebellion.com/crypto. But moving into Bitcoin.
I was going to further plug that for a second. You know, I mean, really between a 14-day test drive and a $1 first month subscription. Let me tell you something, guys. I mean, you look at the Nigerian brothers and what they've done over the decades and the learning courses and education that they've put out, and now that is transferred over with CJ and Monty into crypto on their platform. I got to tell you, it's hot stuff. So I'm excited for the educational courses. I'm a member of Market Rebellion, and I look forward to it. So thank you guys for all the hard work getting that off the ground.
Yeah, appreciate it. We love to trade options too. I'm really, really excited for things like Deribit and the CME to have more options in the overall Bitcoin ecosystem. It's going to open up a lot of different trading strategies. But what I've got highlighted here, and what I think, I guess I'll just start with from the macro perspective, is we've all made, anyone who's been in the market past 3 weeks has made quite a bit of money. We all feel very, very good right now. Nobody doesn't feel good when they woke up and checked their app this morning to see the price. We are euphoric. That's very, very evident. And if we just take this from a very practical, realistic perspective, we can see here on the MACD, price is pretty strong, but we've very rarely ever gotten to these extended levels. We are very overextended on the MACD, but more importantly, I want to point out here on the RSI, because each time historically when we've gotten above the level 90 on the RSI, we've had 30%, 25% corrections. And the same is true here when looking at the Bollinger Bands. These are just the top and the middle bands. Middle band is this pink one you can see here. And each time in our previous bull market rallies, when price gets above the top Bollinger Band on the weekly, we have a very common tendency to come back to this pink line and test test support. And it doesn't have to happen this time around. The history is not always indicative of the future. But as you can see, that line, if we were to correct, is kind of aiming right at our previous high. So that's kind of a little scary in terms of like a correction perspective. Personally, I don't think we'll go that far down. I have some other target levels that I'll highlight for you guys in just a minute here. But something that is pretty interesting when we talk about, how much potential upside do we have on this trend? And if we take the fib retracement and go from the top of the market cycle and then just drag it down to the bottom, we can see that our fib levels are ultimately extrapolated to a price of 45K. And then the next level doesn't kick in until 62K. So when you combine that with the fact that we're getting mass euphoria, Democrats in office now, probably going to get a lot of more stimulus as a result. These are the levels that we could go to. Doesn't mean we have to. Like I said, we're already very overbought on a weekly time frame. But to go down to a shorter kind of daily time frame, I've got a hyperwave highlighted here, and it's been very, very characteristic of the parabolic nature and price action we've seen in this trend. So this kind of leads the hyperwave to kind of test these upper levels. The first one I think we might have some trouble with is 45K. But there's no reason in my mind to sell yet. I'm looking at kind of this wave 4 trend line as kind of a take profit zone. So if we purge below this line, I think we're probably going to correct back down to 26, 25K. We'll see though, but it's no signs of stopping as of now.
You want to talk about euphoria, Alex, real quick. Talk about euphoria. When I woke up on Saturday morning and saw Bitcoin at 31,000, I was so excited and wanted to run upstairs and tell my wife that I'm running up the stairs and smashed my toe on the top step and broke it. And I saw a flash of light, and I'm in a heap and on the floor of the hallway, just screaming, absolutely screaming because of all the pain I'm in. Alex saw me yesterday in the city. I was limping around like a gimp. My wife was asking what would happen if Bitcoin went to 40K. I told her I'd probably end up with a broken arm, right? So I'm really happy we didn't spend too much time above 40K because I didn't see it actually past 40K. I just heard that it did. So I'm safe, I'm sound, I'm good. But so what do you think the likelihood in all reality is that we go down to 26K? Is that something that's highly likely? Because that feels like a bit more of a retracement than many are expecting.
And when you talk about that, guys, can you hit the 1 hour up? Because I don't know if you see the last candle, which was what we just all survived, but it was a doozy and put the fear of God in front of everybody.
That's rough.
I think I bought more there.
Yeah, that's a buying opportunity for sure.
I mean, you look at that wick down all the way to 36 and change.
That felt like a really steep drop in such a short period of time. I mean, it's not unexpected though, because profit taking will occur when you hit certain psychological levels.
Yeah, one thing that I want to say is that this period before, where we corrected about 25% in a very short period of time, a lot of analysts talk about, all right, we need a correction phase of like 25, 30%. When it happens in a span of only a few hours, like that's not a correction. That's just a couple whales taking a large amount of profit. A correction is like a bearish neutral consolidation for a 3 to 4 week period, whereas people can kind of forget that euphoria, it can kind of go away, and then the trend can build further momentum. So, we're seeing some profit taking, but nothing too extreme right now, in my opinion. And to go back to your previous question, Ryan, will we go down to 26K? It's very difficult to say because we could go up to 45K very quickly as well. And then that kind of makes the overall downward target. It just, that wall kind of rises with it. So yes, we're in some uncharted territory, and there's just a very wide range.
Gotcha. No, I mean, that's the thing, right? Because crypto asset markets, they move so quickly that you might drop down to 26K, but then you'll be back to like 32K within the next hour. So and you're right, it's whales taking profits rather than a correction. A lot of people who are in the crypto asset markets who don't have that traditional markets experience, they see something like this and they've heard somewhere that a correction is a technical 10% down move. They're not understanding the fundamentals behind a lot of these flash crashes and recoveries. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
I think it's very telling though that is being bought up that quickly. CJ, back to the point, the macroeconomic backdrop to all of this is
Agreed. It is telling. It means that the confidence is there in the markets. Monty, you, Mr. Short, how do you feel about all this?
No, I feel great. I'm just appreciating the fact that we're talking about like the unlikelihood of a retracement to 26K, when last week we were kind of talking about that as almost a ceiling. And it's like, it just feels like every week the floor goes up a little bit higher. And it seems healthy to me. Like you said, Ryan, we kind of hit this psychological level of 40K. And I don't know if that was whales or if it was a lot of retail traders. I know Weston was talking about talking his parents off the cliff of selling before we hopped on here. And I'm sure a lot of people are in that same position. 40K is a great price to take profit at. There's nothing ashamed with that. If you're selling there, you've definitely made profit. But yeah, like Weston said, the speed at which people bought this back up for me is very encouraging, because it's just every week the perspective is different. Now it's, to me, anything less than 35K, I'm putting in a limit order and I'm buying that up. And I'm sure a lot of traders are in the exact same boat there.
Sorry for cutting you off there, by the way, Weston. My sound cut out and I thought you stopped talking. My bad.
no worries. I mean, I think the follow-up was exactly what I was getting at.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, what's interesting is that, everybody's making money, everybody's getting excited. I do get a little nervous personally about the speed of this run up. I don't, listen, when I talk to Monty and CJ, it makes me feel better, hearing their soothing voice about with the charts.
It's like fresh velvet.
It's a TA crush, but the thing is that, to your point, Monty, two weeks ago, Ryan was throwing out, my floor is 15.5 on the correction. That seems
Number 15.5.
15.5. Now that seems more ridiculous to get to now than it does going to 100K, to be honest with you. I mean, we blew through so many different mental floors on this journey up the last week. People are going nuts. One important factor to note that we tripped was the $1 trillion overall crypto market cap. Now, the $1 trillion mark was a mental achievement award. I know for folks like, me in the institutional side of the business, it's been that way since the end of 2017. We were like, listen, people are going to listen to us when it hits 1 trillion. Now, I don't know if anybody is, but we've seen more institutions come in and more corporates buy up. And now we've hit this 1 trillion and it's like, okay, now we can potentially start to move the needle with crypto. So how big does the 1 trillion market cap play into your mind, CJ, Monty, from a trading perspective, or does it at all? Is it just a flashing banner of an award?
And just to add on to that, does it mean that Coinbase will stop going down every time?
Oh, come on. Yeah, I am so. Who's keeping a running tally? By the way, you know something? I don't know if you guys know, like FTX is running binary bets on the IPO market cap for Coinbase. I will tell you, whoever and maybe we should do it unless a viewer steals our idea first. We should really run like an outage or an uppage on Coinbase. Like just bet. Like what's the volatility index in Bitcoin have to get to trigger Coinbase to just fizzle out?
Yeah, we could build that chart and highly accurately bet on that, I think.
I mean, you guys must be over there at Market Rebellion as well. We're getting so many members so pissed off, particularly US members where the options are very limited, and even have a few Vermont members where Coinbase goes down and they got nothing. They got like Paxful and stuff or local Bitcoin. Okay, let's the 1 trillion mark. Does it make any difference to you guys? And keep the Coinbases down right now in the background because that's just good advertising.
Yeah, I think 1 trillion is, I mean, technically speaking, it's not that important, but just like the psychological, I mean, it just feels so different now. You were talking to Alex how 15.5 seems so much less likely than the upside potential. And I really think that's kind of indicative of like just the sentiment about Bitcoin and crypto right now. It's like the upside potential is so feels so high. And the downside seems almost like to 15.5K, it does almost seem impossible at this point. A lot less likely than 100K in the next month, in my opinion. So it's like there's so many bullish indicators right now that are just really driving this market up. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
One thing I thought was interesting, the Trade the Chain dashboard, when you're looking at sentiment, average daily sentiment for crypto as a whole on the spotlight page, CJ, it's at 52, it's neutral. But when you look at Bitcoin, it's 69 and Ethereum is 66. Their daily sentiment is bullish. And when you look at the long term on the coin page, that's also rather bullish as well. I mean, almost like there's very few bearish signs there versus the bullish ones.
And it's actually good that you're looking at that page, because this is a good segue into what I want to discuss next, which is VGX. You see VGX is one of the hottest on Twitter there over the last 24 hours. Price is up 45% over the last 24. You got, what are we? We're just below 30 cents there. You know, I will say there was a lot of CJ posted a post today on Twitter, and a lot of people reminded us of how Ryan and I came on a few episodes back, and so we said we were selling our VGX, so they made fun of us a little bit. I do want to say I am back into VGX after speaking, after
I'll pull it up.
It cost me, yeah, thanks, CJ. It cost me more money to get back into my position, but after, you know, speaking with Steve, their CEO over there, you know, they just have so much momentum forward, so many different ideas for improving the place that they're implementing. So I'm back in, but yeah.
No, I'm not back in yet.
No?
I lost enough money on VGX where I'm content to get my gains on the other coins I have. I'm doing well. You know, a rising tide lifts all ships. And
look at that. Look at that, Ryan. Hope you boys, Alex Mascioli and Gormo Externo, hop back on board this rocket ship. Well, one of us didn't.
Well, crypto coin, perhaps maybe I'll hop back on, but only after it hits 40, and then I buy at the wrong time, and when it goes down 30%, I'm left holding a half empty bag. But maybe I'll get back in, but right now I'm content where I'm at. No, thanks for your concern.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm glad Voyager's showing some success on the token front.
I'm happy the token is doing well. I'm happy the platform's doing well. I love Voyager. Unlike Coinbase, it doesn't go down when number go up, and it's all good. I have no ill will. I'm happy where I'm at.
What are the charts telling us?
So something that I've been looking at that I think is pretty important and really cool fundamentally is that you know, I've been holding Bitcoin and VGX and kind of taking profits from Bitcoin and thinking about when to put them into VGX. And when you look at the BQX pair, which is what it's called on Binance, this is also where the majority of Voyager's volume is currently coming from. It's actually coming from Binance. Binance is doing around 3 million per day. Voyager token, or Voyager, the actual exchange, is doing about 100,000, maybe $200,000 in volume in Voyager during the day. But this is a very nice TD by 9. It's kind of a indication that you know, the trend is it might be changing here. You know, Tom DeMark used a TD9 buy like this to call the low in the S&P 500 earlier last year in March. And when we look at it on multiple time frames, you can see that not only are we bottoming on that 9 on the weekly, but we're also hitting it on the daily, and then we hit it on the 4-hour some times ago. So very promising. What I like to see coming from both a VGX and Bitcoin holder. And like, just to briefly touch on the fact that we talked, you know, we had a lot of criticism for VGX. I believe that was rightfully so. You know, the reward incentive system that was going in, I don't think it would have benefited the holders long term. But after listening to your show, Alex, and you and Rob's discussion with Steve on the show, all of that PR was incredibly promising, and Steve sounded really, really bullish on the token. And that was ultimately like the turning point in my mind, because previously there had been so much negative publicity about VGX. Longtime holders were selling off, pressed price all the way down to like 12 cents. And then that interview occurred at around maybe 15 cents, 16 cents. And then within the next day, like within the next 48 hours, price was up 20%, and now all the way up to 60% when we hit around 33 cents today. Ever since come back down to about 25 cents. But in my mind, undoubtedly, that interview was the turning point.
What does that tell you? That people respond to leaders who show optimism and strength, and he obviously did that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Steve's a gentleman in every sense of the word, and his conviction to the business just gets translated when he gets on any show and starts speaking. And I think it's a huge reassurance to the average Joe that may only own $100 of VGX, or somebody bigger on the whale side. But either way, you know, he's a tremendous guy for doing that, and I'm glad he came on. He even talked about how they handled the DNS and everything like that occurred the other week. All right, so we got a few minutes left.
You all convinced me. Fine, I bought some VGX. Are you happy?
Did you buy it while he was going through the chart?
Yes, that's what I was looking down at. I bought some VGX. I gave in to peer pressure.
All right.
On the weekly chart, pretty justifiable buy.
Wait till I title this show when it goes on the air in a couple hours.
Ryan FOMO's into VGX.
Ryan apologizes for selling. Mid-show, FOMO's into buying.
I'm not apologizing for selling. I just I was buying on the candle.
Real quick, Alex, did you show the Bitcoin dominance chart quick?
Oh yeah.
There was one thing I think that's just worthy of noting. You know, as you're saying, it's just so strong momentum. I agree completely. But it's pretty interesting. You know, I think we're at was it 68, 69% last time I looked. What is it? Yeah, 69.
Almost 70 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not worried until that gets to 65, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. What you guys have any perspective on that? I mean,
technically, it looks.
Sorry, Monty.
Oh no, it just looks like we got some nice support there with the moving average below it. And yeah, I would agree with you that 65 is around the time I'd start to worry a little bit. When we peaked there, I did get a little bit worried. When we get around 75, that's when I start to look to allocate some of my Bitcoin capital elsewhere, because typically we do see a pullback from around 75. And as a result, we saw tons of DeFi assets really pop this week. So yeah, I think 65 is a reasonable range. I could see, I mean, since we hit 40 and some people started taking profit, I could see some of that capital starting to flow into altcoin projects and the Bitcoin dominance going down a little bit. But yeah, that seems like a reasonable prediction.
All right.
Sorry, Alex, but I want to ask you a question, Weston. When you say you're worried, what does that exactly mean? As a altcoin holder or as a Bitcoin holder?
The exact question I was going to ask.
So I would say a little bit of both, but more so as Bitcoin specifically, because I could see that quickly falling to 50 then. So yeah, Bitcoin predominantly, but then it's going to create a lot of opportunities elsewhere. I mean, there's just so much capital coming into the space that it's kind of almost like the impact of the Bitcoin dominance has changed a bit, you know, but it's still critically important.
It has, and you know, one of the things that people are getting blown out of is places like Uniswap, where the gas fees are just gotten so tremendously high. It's not even a good trade. I just got an email from, you know, most of you know, I'm head of institutional services at a global crypto prime broker, and I just see our operations team just emailed out all our clients saying They've now increased the equivalent for the next 48 hours to $35 for ERC20 withdrawals. I mean, we're talking those things were $3, $4, $5. I mean, $35 for institutions to be withdrawing. It's ridiculous.
That is wild.
Weston, I want to, one of the things we do with Weston during our AMAs at TTC, if anybody's ever seen that, is we do Weston's Trading Corner. I want this, we only got 2 minutes left, Weston. Tell us your big trade in the last week that you've done. What was it, how much you made, and how happy are you?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll answer the last question first. Very happy. Got a SIG dev an alert on our platform Monday night about 9:30 for ticker symbol CELO, CELO. 9:38 p.m. on the nose. I entered the position. 100% gain within less than 1 hour. I think it was actually 44 minutes. Exited. Literally doubled my position. So very happy.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. Nice trade.
All right, guys. Thanks for. Oh, shoot! I almost forgot the big thing. Our weekly $50 giveaway from all of us. So we had our winner last week. It was like Fly New Zealand. They Fly New Zealand. So we're giving away another $50 in Bitcoin this week. It's going to be, the instructions are going to be in the description. It's a bunch of follows. It's a bunch of, you need to type this word, this phrase exactly into the comments. We're going to be back on the air tomorrow. So this is 24 hours you have until tomorrow when we air, and we're going to announce the winner. The $50 is coming from Monty this time. He's giving up his pizza money. Maybe next week we'll give away tomato coin. I'm not so sure. So don't forget. What's that?
The 50 might be worth 500 next week. Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing, guys.
Yeah. The first person we gave the 50 to, it's worth at least what, 80, 90 now?
Oh, 100, yeah, absolutely, man.
Look at that. Say,
I have two new things I just invented. One is I responded to CJ's tweet with hashtag VGX Air Force. We created the .Navy last week. We now have the VGX Air Force. Okay. And then second of all is this new phrase: win our money. So when you win the Bitcoin, win on the dips. Win on the dips.
Win on the dip. Don't buy the dip. Win the dip.
Win the dip. Don't forget, Monty's is forking out the $50 for that Bitcoin. We're going to send it to you guys tomorrow. We'll announce a winner during tomorrow's episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a great rest of the day.
Bye.
Great chat. Great chat, guys.